is the Glass Cannon Network.
Everybody, we're back! We're back after our little hiatus. It's been a hell of a 2 weeks. Actually, we recorded this beforehand, so for you, it's been a couple weeks. For us, it hasn't been that much time at all. But after tonight, we aren't going to be together in person recording, even though you'll get an episode next week. Isn't that weird how that all works? Anywho, I'm drinking a beer tonight. That's what it looks like, right? Troy, just drinking a beer out of your little treehouse glass. Let me take a sip of this. Wait, Troy, how can that be so delicious even though it's non-alcoholic? Have you guys heard about Athletic Brewing Company? They're not a sponsor, although I'm going to give them free.
Face and then realized I shouldn't have been making a face.
I'm going to give them free ads, anyways. So I'm a big booze bag. No, I like having a couple beers, but you get 40 when you get to 43. I don't know if anybody ever told you this. 43 is the age where you just gain weight every single day, even if you're fasting. So you can't drink as much beers as you used to, but I like having a couple pops. Well, I got turned on to this after watching something on Good Morning America, not Good Morning, but Today Show. It was the Today Show, and I started getting these, and let me tell you something. This one's only 60 calories, right? 60 calories, so you can drink like 10 of them, and it tastes just like a real IPA. So... I think you should give it a try. They're blowing up. They're blowing up for teetotalers, pregnant women, people that just like want to hang out, have the brewery experience, but don't like a beer or don't like to drink. Well, now you can with Athletic Brewing Co. Athletic, give us a call. We need some sponsors here on Time for Chaos.
Have you never had a non-alcoholic beer before?
I've had O'Doul's. I've had a Heineken Zero. They're fine. They're great. I get them from my dad whenever he comes. He likes a non-alcoholic beer, but it's not my go-to. But I'm trying to cut back, and this really, for me, it's all about flavor. When the second the last child falls asleep in my house, you just hear that. Clink. And so I have to I can't do that, but I'm I have this Pavlovian response once I know. I come downstairs after the second little guy's asleep, and it's like, well, time for a beer. And it just can't do it. You have a couple of IPAs, that's 500 calories. Easy, a good IPA. This is 60 calories, and the thing is, it tastes like an IPA. So for me, I'm getting that. It's a flavor need is what it is. Ross, do you understand this need for flavor? Sorry, I'm yelling.
Yeah, Troy, I'm a sucker for flavor. You know I love flavors, baby. I don't know. For me, I think the thing I drink to excess is coffee. Peak of pandemic shutdown, I was just tracking time by it's the coffee hours and it's the booze hours, and rinse repeat. But I've started to incorporate a little bit of decaf into my routine because I like to segment it throughout the day. And the problem with me is I'm one of those people who can drink a cup of coffee and go to sleep right afterwards. So I could have a cup of coffee at 8 o'clock at night, but it probably wouldn't be the best for, the old GI tract. Right. So if it gets to be around this time of day, then, I'll make myself up a little custom made, half calf with some of the many pounds I have from, Go Get 'Em Tiger, a great local roastery right here in beautiful Los Angeles, California, dog.
Look at this guy. He knows he's got a local roastery and everything. Let me ask you this. Are you drinking the coffee because you're like, I need a pick-me-up? Or is it about a flavor or a need for it's coffee time now?
It's everything. Yeah, I love the whole ritual of it. I love grinding it up. I love making it in my little AeroPress. I love having a little sweet treat with it, because you got to get that blood sugar spike with your caffeine. Got to have sitting down, treat. Sipping on it, have reading something, working on something. Oh yeah, it's all wonderful. And then you get the benefit of getting a little buzz.
Yeah, you're making me want a cup of Joe right now. But I'll stick with this non-alcoholic beer. Kate, what's your What do you like? You a big beer drinker? Do you enjoy a beer, or are you more of do you have a local roastery in Brooklyn? I'm sure you have 7 within a block of your apartment.
Oh, no, I legit do. And one like recently opened like this, well, in the last couple months. But yeah, Stumptown I think is over here. At least it used to be over here as far as coffee goes. My whole thing about living the ritual is that I love going downstairs and over a couple doors and buying the coffee. I don't like making it. So that's my ritual. But I mean, I like let it sweat for like hours. It takes me a very long time to drink it. As far as booze, like I used to like IPAs. I used to drink them a lot. And then I hit a wall at some point and I can't do beer.
Wow. Well, yeah, that's great.
So
You'll
real.
live forever.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
I had 1 Miller High Life earlier and I was like struggling to finish it.
That's
You just get full.
It's a terrible beer. Noura, you're not a beer drinker?
No, but like Kate, I used to be at some point, and then I
Keg
hit a wall.
stands every Wednesday night.
Big boots of beer, just like drinking them.
I
Yeah.
can't. But, like
Vegas boot.
But even when I did, like I could barely finish one because I felt like I took 2 sips, and I'm like, well, I'm full. But I like food, so I don't want anything disrupting my meal.
Yeah.
I do love. I do an espresso or a cold brew in the morning, and I like my afternoon tea. Yeah.
Okay, a little afternoon tea.
Yeah.
Are you the only tea drinker in the group? Yeah, I thought so.
I'll do tea. I don't have beef with tea.
You'll brew tea right in your house.
I got a tea bag. Is that what you mean? Is that the same
I guess
thing?
that's
it's a
considered
little
brewing tea.
Plebeian tea bag. I don't have my wife will do the basket with the little shredded.
That's what Noura has, right? You got the basket with the fresh tea leaves.
Yes. Yeah. And I love tea. I love coffee. So I'm notorious for when like I go to my parents' house or I go to like any Arab dinner thing because it's those multiple courses. And like at the very end, it's time to leave after they've served you tea or coffee and like something. It's always a multiple step process. And so whenever they ask me, they're like, do you want tea or coffee? I'm like, yes. And they're like, which one? I'm like, bring me both. And I will have both tea and coffee usually in those circumstances.
Rob, you live in the one of the craft beer capitals of the world. Are you big beer guy?
I was trying to figure out actually earlier today if I was an alcoholic. And I don't think I am because it's not like I get the shakes or, any of that stuff. But I think, especially since it's either kids or the pandemic or both. Like you said, Troy, it's like kid down. I mean, actually, before kid down, wine has already started to flow. When you start cooking or, around 5 o'clock, I'm becoming my mother, which is great. But since the pandemic, like I was trying to think, I was like, has there been a day where I haven't had something?
I played that game before, Rob, and I did not like the results.
But it's not like I'm not necessarily getting like hammered. So I feel like,
but you probably had at least a drink, 99 out of 100 days, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's where I'm
I
at.
like a little nightcap, like something where the evenings died down. We want to like read a little bit or just have like a little cocktail, little glass of wine.
Yeah. And,
fish bowl or two.
Yeah, totally. And then, but the irony for me living in Colorado, and you're like you said, it's there's breweries every other block. Is I have not like a gluten thing, but I have a thing with fructans, guys. This is a sugar.
Wow.
People should look into this. It's called FODMAPs.
Yes.
You haven't looked into this? Yes.
I did this diet like over the pandemic because I was just like, I need to figure out what is making me crazy because it's everything. And I figured out which sugars. So
hell yeah, Kate.
Yeah.
Wait, what is this thing called? FODMAPs? It sounds like some weird acronym to help you remember.
It is an acronym for something that I, of course, do not know. But there's like 6 different sugars, like fructans. What else
Oligos
is there?
And I don't know how to say them. And the sugars like appear in different things. So some people who think they have a gluten allergy might actually have an allergy to a specific sugar. So for me, I thought it was a gluten thing, but then I would be gluten free and then still have what we call issues. And for a while, I was like, this is just because I eat like shit sometimes. And my wife was originally like, finally was like, not everybody
has to just like run to the bathroom every once in a while. Like that's not necessarily a normal thing. But it was like every guy I know does it because we all eat like shit. It's fine. But no, it's this. So for me, after doing this like arduous elimination diet, Kate, I don't know if you did this too. Where
Yes.
you're like,
What are you no good with?
yeah. So it's fructans. It's full on fructans, which appears in gluten, but it's more manageable. So now I can eat like I can have like a glass of beer, but if I have like several, then we're skirting the line. You know what I mean? And the big thing for me is onions and garlic, which are
that sucks.
the most delicious things on earth. Yeah.
You can use garlic oil.
Garlic oil is great. I highly recommend that. But everyone should look into this because I feel like there's probably more people, at least in talking to my friends, there are people with like digestive things that they are just chalking up to like, well, that's because I had Wendy's 2 weeks ago and it's still in my body. It's
because you had a mango and it's fermenting in your stomach right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So check them out. I feel like it's going to be the new hotness in terms of dietary restrictions.
And we'll already
Probably
be done
in
with
LA,
it.
yeah.
We're ahead of the trend.
Tweet at us if you have the same issue or if you discover it from what
I got an
Kate have
app.
gone through.
I got an app before I eat something. I'm like, I'm not sure about this. Let me look it up. And then it'll tell you if it's like you're in the green zone, the yellow zone, or the red zone. Red zone, don't go near it.
Don't go near it.
And it'll tell you the numbers. Like if you have 14 blueberries, you're in the yellow. If you go 16, you're in red. And then you gotta, it's constantly like checks and balances.
You know what makes me
Comment
sad is
down
that
below
rice
about
does
your-
that to me.
Rice?
No.
Yeah, like I'm
Yeah.
like a reptile. You feed me rice and I'll like explode. It's
That's a
not-
thing. Yeah, that is it.
right.
That's a thing.
That's
You're
what happens
always
to
sitting
pigeons
around
at
on that
weddings.
hot rock too, right?
I like myself a heat rock.
Yeah.
That's why they don't throw rice at weddings anymore because pigeons eat them and die.
Yeah,
like their stomachs just
exactly.
go, bah! So they just throw like gummy
Interesting.
bears now or something. I don't know what
Leave
those
a comment down below about your bowel movements.
Yeah.
Shout out for the chat, guys. We want to hear all about your BMs,
It was
your
a life.
FODMAPs.
It was a life changer.
Comment
Like it was
poop emoji if you agree.
my confidence, which was actually it's still pretty low, but it got a boost from knowing that I didn't have to always clock where like a bathroom was at any establishment.
And now you know, like, I'm going to eat this thing that's going to bother me, and I'm going to know tomorrow why, instead of just being in this space of like, I don't know why I
you'll
feel
still
crazy.
eat the shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can never take you to a casino because you can never find a bathroom or an exit.
Good point.
But perhaps you'll find Jackson Elias's killer tonight. There's my segue. Last week, we started with you in the back of an unmarked police car as Lieutenant Martin Poole was taking you back into the city. You were whisked away from Jackson Elias's funeral in Brooklyn to go back to the city to go to Chelsea, Precinct 7A, where he put you in separate interrogation rooms and just kind of grilled you on what went on the night of January 15th. At the Hotel Chelsea. Some of you were more forthcoming with information than others. Others of you think that you're tough guys and can just talk like you know everything. To a
Snitches
cop.
get stitches.
I guess so. But at the end of the day, he believed you, or maybe he even knew going in that you had nothing to do with it, but he's just stymied by this because up until Jackson Elias's murder, all the other murders that have been like this, and that's the thing, there have been a string of similar murders. They ended when a man named Hilton Adams was found at the scene of a murder and arrested. And then the murder stopped until Jackson Elias's. The one thing they had in common was this carved symbol on their forehead. Other than that, no connections. Like Poole said to you, they were black, white, poor, wealthy, lived uptown, downtown. It didn't matter. And so he was just trying to get some information from you and trying to really make you feel like an ally in a way, even though you guys got off on the wrong foot. So you leave there, head back to the Waldorf, I think, and bed down for the night. You've got a busy day on Monday to go to the reading of the will, which is happening at Carlton Ramsey's office. Carlton Ramsey was Jackson's lawyer and friend. He has an office up in Harlem that he shares with his niece, he's like his secretary. He reads the will, and essentially the will, it's Jackson wants you to continue what he was digging into because he thinks it is earth shattering information. And so he's left you his entire life savings in order to do that. Carlton Ramsey will act as your bank, essentially, as well as like whatever you need him to do. You need him to make phone calls. You need him to keep messages. You need him to find, like, you need to translate. Like, he'll help you in any way he can, and he'll dole out this money like an allowance when needed. Then you go to Prospero House Publishing and you speak with Jonah Kensington, who was Jackson Elias's publisher of all his books and also a close friend. Jackson was that type of guy. Everybody that they became his best friend. And he starts to share with you this correspondence that he's had with Jackson on the months leading up to his death and his return to New York, and how his correspondence seemed to get more fragmentary and disjointed right up until the end. And the last thing he shares with you is something he didn't even want you to see because he felt it painted Jackson in a bad light. It painted his mental state in a bad light, and he didn't want to remember his friend that way. He doesn't want you to remember him that way, and he really doesn't want this to get out either. But reluctantly, he lets you read it. And that's where we wrapped up last episode. And that's where I want to pick up today's episode with this paper. Many names, many forms, but all the same and toward one end. Need help. Too big, too ghastly. These dreams like Carlyle's? Check that psychoanalyst's files. All of them survived! ! They'll open the gate. Why? So the power and danger is real. Many threads beginning. The books are in Carlyle's safe, coming for me. Will the ocean protect? Ho ho, no quitters now. Must tell and make readers believe. Should I scream for them? Let's scream together. What do you make of this?
Trying to look back in some of these notes from the beginning, because the first thing that jumps out at me here is check that psychoanalyst's files. All of them survived. And I'm like, who is that? Do we already have a lead on that?
Yeah, was a psychoanalyst ever mentioned anywhere in there?
I don't remember there being,
There were so many people like on the expedition.
Mm-hmm. Was there a psychoanalyst on the
the
Carlisle expedition itself, or was he seeing one?
The books are in Carlisle's safe.
That's the thing that's intriguing to Vaughn, who's been on the book hunt.
And maybe if we somehow get a hold of this, we'll know the dreams that he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to know, like, books in a safe. Carlisle himself was from America.
From New York.
He's from New York. So if they're part of his personal effects, there's a chance those are here. And if he was looking for them, and the next line is coming for me, perhaps they were trying to keep him from finding them.
And then, this is will the ocean protect? Maybe he thought that he would be safe coming back to New York.
Whoever these people are, were overseas. And then all throughout these papers, it seems to imply that the Carlisle expedition, that members of it didn't die.
Right. But there's still a guy in Hong Kong, right?
Seen around the world. Mm-hmm. And we've already, and Vaughn especially is like, yes, the dead can live again. Yes, and Vaughn also, I think, sees the disjointed quality of this, and it's very similar to the kind of war poem letter from his war companion, Oberon Doyle. So yeah, it's very, very like, yes, you've seen it. You've seen something. We'll find out who did this to you. We'll find out who did this to you, old man.
Dreams like Carlyle's.
That's what makes me think when he says, like, there's dreams like Carlyle's and then also coming for me. Like, does he mean, like, kind of what came for Larkin, for example? Like, visions or monsters.
Maybe he knew that people were going to come kill him.
Yep.
That's what
Maybe
it
he
seems.
failed his sanity check.
He definitely did not seem in his right mind. You've had correspondence with him over the years since Peru. He never wrote anything so all over the place. Jonah looks at you as you finish reading it aloud, and he's just shaking his head, and he's like, so anyway, I don't know. Jackson jumping around from London to Hong Kong, Australia, Nairobi. That's Jackson. That's nothing out of the ordinary. But when he came to me last, he just didn't seem right. And that's the last time I ever saw him. Now listen, I've seen him when he's had a deadline looming or if he was suffering from writer's block. But this was different. I feel like he was really on to something big. And he wasn't a guy that was prone to hyperbole. He felt as if this was something very, very important, but he got in too deep. And whether or not that got him killed, your guess is as good as mine.
Do you know who he is talking about? This psychoanalyst.
Psychoanalyst. Yeah.
Check that psychoanalyst's files.
Check that psychoanalyst files. I mean, there was a doctor that went with him on the expedition. Was he a shrink? What was his name? Houston? Dr. Houston?
Right.
Yeah, maybe he's speaking about him. I mean, in this other paper, he says that he ran into Jack Brady and did. So, I mean, it's pretty clear he thinks that there was some sort of cover-up, that these guys are still alive, or at least some of them are.
Yes, if my memory serves, and I assure you that this is my memory, not me referring to a piece of paper in my possession, yes, it was a Dr. Robert Houston who was on the expedition. And if my memory serves, he was a newfangled Freudian psychologist, one of these subscribers to that obscure Viennese school.
Yes, yeah, all right. So I'm not crazy. I thought so. Clearly, the Carlisle expedition was important to him. It seemed to be the central part of whatever he was looking at. But
would Houston's office be here in New York by any chance?
I don't know to be sure. I mean, I think he was here. He took off with Carlisle here, if I remember correctly. I mean, I haven't looked too much into it
and never returned, I would suppose. So if his files are in relation to the expedition itself.
When Jackson started mentioning the Carlisle expedition, I looked into it a little bit, but I didn't really go digging. If it's my understanding that he left from here, and they met up with the guy in London, the group of them. But I don't think he's returned. I'm sure if you ask Carlton, he could maybe track down some information if he still has an office here, or if it was shut down. I would assume if he was presumed dead, that was taken and cleaned out. But
yes, I suppose it could either be. It seems as though Jackson saw them or was after them. They may be back in Nairobi, or if they were the personal effects of a gentleman of this country, perhaps an enterprising Kenyan official sent them back to his literary executors here in New York.
What about this part that in the letter that talks about books in Carlisle's safe?
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you know anything about that?
No, I know he's got a sister that lives up in Westchester, but she's she's loaded. She went out there, from what I understand, to kind of see what happened to her brother, and she was one of the people that sort of confirmed that or at least was satisfied with the opinion that they were wiped out, and then she came back. As far as I know, she's just north of the city.
Westchester. Was she on the expedition or no?
No. She went out after.
She went to find them afterwards.
I see.
Yeah, because that was her brother.
Right.
But I
for
mean,
one-
she probably lives in a big old mansion. I can't imagine it would be easy to meet up with her. You might again look to Ramsey. Maybe he could reach out for you if you wanted to speak with her. I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know
I'd
where she
very-
stands on all this.
Very much like to speak to her and get a sense of what the effects of Mr. Carlyle contain.
Right.
I wonder if the book is in his safe.
Yes, and especially if she went to the site and returned. Perhaps she
She might
knows.
be in possession of it,
Yes.
or at least could help us in tracking it down.
And she's got money, which, maybe we could ask her for money.
Yes, I saw a twinkle in your eye when it was mentioned that she was
Did I?
loaded, Mr.
I've been
Tillinghast.
trying to hide that twinkle more and more these days, but it just, I think the twinkle from the blocked eye goes to my eye that you can see, so I gotta...
Are you looking for the future, Mrs. Tillinghast?
No, I'm a kept man.
Oh,
As
yes,
you
I'm sure
know,
that's just a-
Feyruz, No, that's not, I'm happily wedded.
Yes,
Right.
of course. Well,
I am
that
in
sounded sincere, so, I suppose
a
we'll-
relationship on paper, which I'm
yes,
bound
it's
to...
complicated.
Yes. Yeah, we don't need to get into it. Now, the point is, my eyes have twinkled. I think we should talk to this woman.
Yes. There might be one more woman I should like to pay a call on before
Yeah, we know you now, Vaughn. We know what you're up to. We've seen you in action.
Would it be that librarian?
I assure you, sweat beading on his forehead. No. I'm quite dedicated to the bachelor's life. But this journalist, this Schosenberg,
Yes.
to know anything that she might know about these other murders, and to know that she had seen or heard tell of anything like what we saw escaping out that window.
And she can get us to talk to the prisoner. So,
Hilton Adams?
Oh,
is
Although it
Carl...
sounds
she
to
might
me-
be our way into that conversation.
Yeah, who
Although-
did she speak to at the funeral?
What?
Who did
she?
Rebecca speak to? Because she was among the throng of
Yeah.
reporters that were
It
sitting
was
there trying to get a
Vaughn or
story.
Margot, I think, because
Yes, I was crying my eyes
Feyruz was
out.
crying
You
her
two
eyes
were
out. I was singing Boys to
distracting,
Men.
Yeah, I think it was
So
Vaughn and
hard
Margot.
to say goodbye.
She gave her a card, and we had we'd spoke about it last episode. Like she probably wasn't there on Sunday, so you could go over to 43rd Street and check in on her.
Should we
Is
ask
Carlton
the P?
in this office?
No, he's up in Harlem
Right, I thought we left.
right now. You're on the east side and on like Kips Bay area, I think.
Yes, in Prospero House, and I'm probably like picking up a book that's like, Witch Cults of Old Salem. Now, Mr. Detective Poole, the way that he spoke about his colleague Robeson gave me to believe that Mr. Adams was the subject of rather a rush job on the part of the justice system here. And so, what I would like to know if Miss Schosenberg shares this claim. She really believes that it is the unfortunate Mr. Adams who is the perpetrator of those murders, or if she believes that there's been a miscarriage of justice.
Well, sounds like we got two ladies to talk to.
Jackson also
Sounds like a popular song. Two ladies talk to, one more for a dream. Yeah,
Oh, that's the top 40.
yes.
I had mentioned this earlier. He had left a couple business cards with me. I don't know if if he wanted me to hold on to them or if they're even important. But it's just they're both for the same guy here, and he hands you these business cards. I'll direct you to roll 20 to show you this particular card. Let me see if I can find it.
Handout 4,421.
There you go. Yeah, you gotta get used to it.
Oh, look at that business card.
Oh, yeah. Aubrey Penhue, I
exquisite.
remember.
Yes, that's a name I remember.
Penhue
Is that
Foundation.
eggshell white?
That's a nice one.
Where's that bone?
Penhew was one of the people involved with the Carlisle expedition.
Yeah.
What I did read is that I think he was a lot of the money. He was famous. He knew all about Egypt, famous Egyptologist. But I think he was loaded as well. Now, obviously, Carlisle had some money too, being this playboy. But I don't know if you ever find yourself in London, this would certainly be something to keep in your back pocket.
Yes.
I like the amount of rich people we need to speak to.
Well, I've certainly seen this as I go around the club. Yes, perhaps we'll pay a call on the Penhew Foundation.
Perhaps we should use some of our funds to make ourselves look more presentable.
Ooh, maybe.
Oh yeah, we can access money to get some drip, right?
We can write it off. I think. Yes.
Cue the shopping
business
montage
expense.
with you guys.
This is what Jackson would have wanted.
It's for the expedition. It's for solving mysteries. We gotta blend in with all these upper crust yo-yos.
We get to try on many hats.
Yeah, if just Feyru's popping out of various dressing rooms with all of us like,
So what we're going to do now is a shopping montage.
Yes.
Can't stop this thing we started. We're gonna run away. It's just a little shopping montage. So yeah, Jonah just kind of shakes his head and he's like, well, listen, I don't know how long you're going to be here in New York, but you're always welcome to pop by. And honestly, I'd love you to keep me posted. Carlton couldn't tell me everything, but he said that he thought that you would be kind of picking up the mantle a little bit. So if that's the case and you find out anything interesting, please don't forget me.
yes.
I'd love to memorialize him in any way that I can. He was a good man.
I think we're dedicated to the trail of of his great work. And there happens to be a member of our small party here who has literary ambitions, I say as I glance over at
I wasn't going to bring it up just yet, but yes, Jonah, if you are looking for a new hit, I've noticed that some of these books are a little boring around this office. What do you got here? The Life and Times of Captain Ahab. Don't know what that's about. Some sort of prequel.
It's quite popular.
Yeah, well, I'm in the streets. I'm among the common man. You know what I mean? And people aren't reading this, okay? They're reading how Teddy Roosevelt punched a bear in the face. That's what they want. Which is why, I don't have to get into this now. I do have a 1,700-page manuscript I want to send your way, but we'll get into that a little later when we can talk figures. In the meantime, I think we should solve the murder of our best friend.
Yes, let's.
Fine.
So you want to go to the New York Times?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think we want to see, what's her name? Rebecca next.
Rebecca Schosenberg?
Should we
Is
should we
Schosenberg.
split the part a little bit? Should we go rich lady?
Didn't we just come from talking to Carlton? It sounds like we might need to come back to him. But then also, there's Westchester for Erica. But we need an intro first.
Right.
Well, we do have noted Playboy Vaughn Villiers.
This might be one of those situations where my credit rating could come into effect as a calling card in its own right.
Which is why I thought that we should freshen our looks up.
Yeah, no, well, that's goes without saying. Although really,
Put it on the
speak for
company
yourself.
dime.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so you head over to Woolworths, get a brand new wardrobe,
Stay out of the Woolworths.
I had a wall.
save your receipts, and then you can give those back to Carlton Ramsey, and hopefully you can just shove it in between receipts for taxis and
Did you
I
guys
needed this first,
Did you guys ever, as whoever here has dabbled in acting, did you ever try to do the well, I have to buy clothes because I could go to an audition that would require me to have a turtleneck, so I should own this
Exactly.
turtleneck. Yeah, it didn't really work out for me too great.
just write off everything.
Exactly, I got audited.
Did you?
Oh yeah,
Really?
I wrote off so much gas mileage it really blew up in my face.
Yeah, that's one of the ones you got to be careful with. All right, so you head to the New York Times after your shopping spree. You all look great, but since your credit rating hasn't changed, you look like you don't know how to wear those clothes.
Oh no.
Rats.
Just kind of flopping around. They don't fit quite right. But Vaughn looks impeccable.
Or like
as
we
always.
definitely look like new money type of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Carter's in a zoot suit.
or
Brand new.
thieves. You kind of look like thieves who stole nice clothing. All right, you head over to the New York Times. It is now located in the recently expanded 229 West 43rd Street building, rather than the offices after which Times Square was named.
Oh,
I know you learn something new
didn't know that.
every episode. You head over there and you pop into the office, and it is just a hive of journalistic activity compared to some of the offices you've been in thus far. I mean, Prospero House had a few more people in it compared to Ramsey's or the 3-person DMV, but this is just like what you imagine a 1920s, the New York Times would be like, just people running around all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
We
If
should
you
have bought
ask,
a box of donuts.
if you ask for Rebecca Schoenberg, up front, they direct you to the crime section of the news department. So there's like a news department, and then those are all broken down into different sections. Someone walks you over to the crime section and brings you over to Rebecca's desk. There's like a bunch of cubicles, and she's sitting next to people. So it's not super private, but she sees you and she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you came. And all of you are here. Do you have time to chat?"
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
were hoping that
we
you would
came
have
to
some
see
time
you.
to chat.
All right, wonderful. Tom, can we get conference room 4? Can we get 4? All right, I'll be in 4. Come with me. And she brings you over to a little conference room, shuts the door so you have a little privacy, and she's got like a bundle under her arm, like a manila folder full of clippings and notes and whatnot. And she's like, this is great. I felt so bad coming to the funeral. I didn't want to be like everybody else and seem like a vulture, but I just felt like this would be an opportunity to see if there were people there that knew about Jackson, because I'll tell you, I've been following these murders for a long time, and I know a lot about them, and the fact that there's been another body, another death, I just feel like this is big, and I may be able to help. Can I ask you when you last saw Mr. Elias?
Rebecca, I'm going to stop you right there. I need to talk to my friends for one quick second. I like huddle the guys together. Like, I think we should do a luck roll. I think we should see if we improve our luck right now. Before we start
Good
talking.
idea. I just feel like I
Before we
could
start
use
talking to
it.
this woman, I feel like I don't feel as lucky as I could be. You
Never know when that sort of thing comes in handy, old chap. Here we go.
know what I mean? Everyone get your dice out.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, good call. I have notes every single time, and I forget to do this. So yeah, let's see if anybody improves their luck.
I continue and stay as the lowest luck person of the party
My God, I did it.
for one day longer.
My luck.
Did you get 9 last week, Kate?
Finally,
I think I did. I think I did well last week, and I'm still the lowest.
Still
I got nothing last week. Ooh, I got 8 more.
Rob? Ross?
I got 3 more.
nice.
Got an even 60 luck.
Yeah, wow. I missed it by 3 points.
Brutal. Well, all right, 2 of you got up. Once you come out of your huddle, and she goes,
Hey, thanks. Sorry about that. We just
everything all right?
Yeah, no, we just had some things, internal facts and figures to check.
So I was saying, when did you last see Mr. Elias?
It's been
tough.
a great deal of time since we saw him in the flesh. Since we saw his flesh animate.
And not
The last-
exposed.
The last time we've kept correspondence was, and I look at the letter that he sent, and give her the date.
Did you get a chance to speak with him in New York before his passing?
Unfortunately, no.
Not more than the briefest summons.
What do you mean?
But in fact, the night that we were summoned was the night that he passed.
We missed him by probably minutes.
I don't mean to pry, but can you walk me through this? He called on you to see him, and then you came and the police were. What happened? I don't understand.
We should tell her.
Yes.
Okay. Who wants to tell her?
I'll do it. I have the most even-handed touch. We walked in and his guts were everywhere. Just splatter city, baby.
Wait, you were at the murder scene?
We were there.
This is soundproof.
This is a large conference room.
This is conference room 4.
Yeah, no, we came upon his body and we tried to capture his assailants. I jumped out of a 4-story window.
Wait a minute.
There were men there.
The murderers were in the room?
Yes.
Killers?
And they were wearing these strange head wraps.
Wait a minute. Hold on. She pulls out her notebook. She's like, "This is." They were. What were they wearing?
A red flannel.
Like a red flannel
long
headband. It looked with a running tail.
This is
very impractical.
This is.
But I guess visually effective.
They looked like the doofuses.
Did the police know that
Like
you were
total ding dong?
Total.
Do the police know that you were there watching this all unfold?
Not exactly.
Well, they do
Yes,
now.
I told Pool.
Yeah.
Yes. So anything that we tell you, Mr. Rosenberg, I shall hope that you will respect the anonymity of a source.
Absolutely. And to be honest, I'm not looking at blowing anything up right now at all. I think that would be detrimental to finding out what's going on, letting the potential killers know that we have information. I like to try to work with the police, and that really wouldn't help anybody.
Yes.
I'll tell you, I've been studying these murders for a while, as I said, and the last one took place in September of last year, so about 4 or 5 months ago. But then they arrested Hilton Adams, and everything has been quiet until now.
Now, do you think that Hilton Adams is guilty? Because a couple of us tried to talk to him, and for some reason, they would not let them talk to him at a max security prison. But they did mention that you had been by, and are you regularly speaking to him? What's your attitude towards old H-man?
I believe Hilton Adams is innocent. Absolutely, 100%. I've forged a relationship with his wife, Millie Adams, and in speaking to her and what she knows, she's given me permission to go speak with him, and he hasn't been incredibly forthcoming with me, but
Maybe he's seen something.
That's what I feel. I feel as if he has.
Because he was seen at the scene of the crime, was he not?
That's what they say, but there's a lot of stories that don't match up, and I think there may have been some foul play going on in the precinct that arrested him.
What do you think about
we saw-
Robus? Oh, go ahead.
I forgive me, but we did see the vehicle that they escaped in.
You did? Did the police know about that? Did you give them that information?
Yes, but perhaps if it is in any way, if Mr. Hudson has seen anything and it's the same vehicle, then it would all check out.
Yeah, is he not pleading? Did he plead not guilty? I mean, why is he not just screaming the opposite of bloody murder?
They've tried several pleas, and it doesn't matter. Mrs. Adams has tried several times to try and appeal it. The whole neighborhood raised money to help pay for Hilton's defense. But the New York Legal Aid Society judged that the case wasn't worthy enough to qualify for one of the attorneys. So his wife only had enough money to pay for one trial and one appeal, and the money's all gone now. So
am I given to understand that here in America that you get the justice that you pay for?
I mean, perhaps, yes.
What a country.
Yes. It's complicated.
I think there's a race issue, too, that kind of works its way into the whole situation.
Yes,
You
yes.
probably still have healthcare, right? You know what? Don't tell me.
Schosenberg, we are of the opinion as well that based on what we have learned and what we have seen, that Mr. Adams is probably altogether innocent of the crimes for which he is accused.
He absolutely is.
And perhaps
and he's going to fry because of it, unless we can do something to help.
Break into the prison and rescue him.
That's impossible.
You don't think we should do? That's probably not a good.
We've seen their security.
We're spitballing here.
He's in the death house too. It's inaccessible. But I could probably get you in there if I introduce you to Millie, and she takes a liking to you and thinks that your cause is just. Then she may okay it, and then you could go up there and speak to Hilton. I don't know. Maybe if he saw you, if you explained your situation, he might be more forthcoming than he has been with me, because I just know he knows things. But let me tell you what I know, because this may help you. This may be stuff you already know. And she starts pulling out newspaper clippings and stuff. And she's like, so I just want to walk you through what I know, because it may be helpful. When the first two bodies came up, there was no established link between them, and she's showing you like papers for the first murder and papers for the second murder. The only thing that was similar was the carvings in their forehead, but they didn't, at least they didn't say that they thought it was the same killer. By the third murder, connections started being drawn. Maybe something was leaked, or they purposely put it out there, but people started saying that this could have been maybe the same murderer. The police were clearly pretty baffled by it, though, because time went on and no one was being arrested for it. Now, beyond the symbol that was carved into their forehead, there were no ties between any of their deaths, except the fact that all of them spent some time in Harlem. But that was hardly noteworthy, because Harlem's a pretty popular place after dark. A lot of people go up there and hang out at the clubs. I think they were latching onto that and kind of held on to it for a little too long. And in my opinion, it informed the rest of the investigation. Now, as I've been getting into this more and more, I'm not a detective, but I am a reporter, and I think I'm a good reporter. And part of being a good reporter is doing your research. So my thought is the fact that the first bodies were found in different police precincts suggests to me that there was also very little coordination between the precincts and sharing of evidence between the various investigations. And then everything was transferred uptown to this Captain Robeson of the 14th Precinct in Harlem. And there was no progress whatsoever, even though all this stuff was happening in one precinct, until Hilton Adams was arrested, found at the site of the 8th murder. So, to me, it sounds like he was a patsy. I think that they just needed to pin it on someone, and they pinned it on Hilton, because if you met this man, he's not a murderer, he's not a killer, he's not someone that's going to carve symbols into people's foreheads. So I don't know.
Now, what's your opinion of Robeson? You're you're a beat reporter. You work crime scenes. You got to cross paths with this guy a lot. What do you think about this chump?
Well, I think he's either incompetent or he's corrupt. Maybe Robeson was involved with the setup. Maybe he is just involved with the cover-up, or maybe it's someone in his precinct. But as far as I can tell, he ended up heading in the investigation up because a lot of the later corpses either turned up in Harlem or on the fringes of Harlem. And then they interviewed this Dr. Mordecai Lemming, and he said
we've had
that
the pleasure.
Oh, you've met Dr. Lemming?
We have.
I've never had the pleasure, although from what I hear, he's a bit of a handful. Well,
he's an earful as well.
Mm-hmm. When he started saying that this had something to do with an African death cult, they naturally just pushed everything else uptown, just assuming that the perp was a member of the African American community. Just these leaps and bounds puts everything in Robeson's lap, and then Hilton Adams, an innocent man in my opinion, and in his wife's opinion, and in many of the people of his neighborhood's opinion, something's not right.
Well, I think we'd love to go have a word with him.
Yeah.
You said we would have to meet his wife first?
Yeah, I would take you up to meet Millie. I'd call her and I'd tell her about you, and we could set up a meeting. I'm sure we could meet as soon as tomorrow
What do you
afternoon.
think? If not all of us go to meet her, maybe just, I don't know, me and Favors?
Probably would make more sense. Although Vaughn is very charming.
Hold on a second. Now wait a goddamn minute.
We just don't need any more
too
enemies,
kind, but,
Carter.
I have a silver tongue. It
What
says
does
so
that
on my
mean?
stat sheet.
A silver tongue?
It's fine.
Well, wouldn't you rather go see the sister of Carlisle?
Yes.
I would enjoy that very much, I think.
That is a great idea. Go with
So
Vaughn.
it's tough to figure out where I'm best used. Do you know what I mean? When you have a resource like me. Look, I mean,
Yes, you
I'm a weapon of mass destruction. You don't know where to drop me.
Yes. Well,
Those don't exist yet, I might add.
you just bring your silver tongue and your golden charm up to.
Yeah, I'm the mustard
Westchester.
gas of conversation.
Not sure if that translates quite the same.
Vaughn knows what I'm talking about. You spray me everywhere, and then people inhale me, and I'm intoxicated. You can't help but cough and die.
Yes, that's
you
quite
say
charming.
so.
That's how it works, right? Vaughn. Carter's slapping Vaughn.
You can see him just like staring into the middle distance,
Yeah.
like you're quite.
Look at him.
Yes, perhaps it's best if you bring your kindness to the lamented Miss Adams
Yeah.
and
I'll gas her right up.
If we could just, we don't talk about gas anymore. And we can perhaps make a journey up to Westchester and put our charm to good use.
What's in Westchester?
It is
The prison?
Mr. Carlisle's sister.
Carlisle. I don't
Oh,
understand.
the
This is a
Carlisle
separate-
exhibition?
Yeah.
Oh, do you not know about any of that?
No,
We think there is a connection.
We believe.
Hold on.
again-
Sorry. Hold on. Carter wants to do a psychology
the
check
mustard gas.
on this woman before we get deeper into telling her these other things. I want to know
Okay.
if she's
On the level.
on the level. This is a psychology check.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Of course, Oh no. Now, guys, when it's all zeros, is that 100?
Yes.
That's a fumble.
That's a fumble.
So does his brain break when he tries to do this?
Do I have an aneurysm? What happens?
The
mask
falls. Your head explodes.
I just had a nosebleed on Carter.
All right, so you say Westchester. She's like, what's in Westchester? Although the prison's in Westchester, so it's not that much of a leap. But you guys then start talking about Carlisle, and she's like, what's Carlisle? And you're like, wait a minute, should we even be telling her about
Yes, that's
all this? And yeah, you really can't get a read on her.
so. I rolled 100 immediately. Like, well, here's the deal. Okay, so we think that a death cult that's involved with demons from other dimensions came in and they killed our friend, and now we're trying to hunt it down. And some of us can't shake the memories of things that we've seen. We saw things in Peru that will blow your mind. There's slugs that'll crawl up your nose. There's mummies. There's lots of stuff going on. Are you getting all this down?
Right, Mr. Tillinghast, I think that's quite enough.
Huh?
Wait. What? What is he
I think I was
about?
pretty clear.
You know, he's writing a book, and but yeah, we think like our friend who died, he was looking into the Carlisle exhibition, and we think that there may be some link. We haven't really figured it out fully yet, but that's why we want to go see Erica.
Oh, okay. Listen, I know you guys are having some rough times here dealing with the loss of your friend. I gotta admit, you're a little all over the place, and I want to make sure that I can bring you up to Millie and present you as being of sound mind. Otherwise, we're not going to get a meeting with her with Hilton.
Listen, I know these talks of death cults might seem a little out there, but I assure you, as somebody who is a researcher myself, I can tell you that death cults or not, whether you believe in it or not, anybody on an expedition, anybody retrieving artifacts, it's a very dangerous line of work. It's very competitive. And somebody will absolutely slit your throat to get a precious artifact, to be the first person to bring it to a museum and reap the benefits of a reward. So
are you saying that,
as Fairuz is trying to be like, up, let's maybe not talk about death cults.
I just, maybe Dr. Lemming was onto something if what you're saying is correct. I'm just trying to get my head straight here, and I want to make sure you have your head straight as well. If Mr. Adams is innocent, like I believe he is, and like his wife believes, then we're running out of time to save this poor man's life. He's set to be executed any day now. If we can figure out what's really going on here, I will use my powers here at the Times to expose the whole thing. You give me the information, I'll blow this up. We'll not only save Mr. Adams' life, but the lives of the next victim and the victim after that. And if it's tied up into what all the stuff you're talking about, we could do a lot of good.
And I absolutely love your enthusiasm, but I do have to warn you that this is very dangerous. So for your own safety, please keep this close to the chest.
All right.
Yes. Until we have certain proof that can absolve Mr. Adams of this terrible crime. Walk gently.
Is there a way I can contact you after I speak to Miss Adams? Mrs. Adams?
How did people contact each other?
You could leave a message at the
Impossible
Waldorf.
to know.
Send us a telegram, singing or not, your choice.
Pigeons,
to the
I think.
At this point, you can leave messages at the Waldorf or
Yeah,
messages with Ramsey.
yes, leave a message to
Ramsey.
whichever you prefer. Yes, yes, with Carlton Ramsey. Was that it? Yes, Carlton Ramsey.
I don't think sensitive information left with the hotel.
Right. Oh,
Even the
good
Waldorf
call.
Astoria is.
All right, so you give her Carlton's number, and she's like, "All right, I'll try and get a hold of her right after lunch, and then if we can set up something for tomorrow, I'll meet you up in Harlem."
Sounds good.
Great.
All right,
Forget
thank
everything
you.
I said about mummies. That was.
I don't think I'll ever forget that, but thank you for coming in, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you tomorrow. Please, I should let you know, Mrs. Adams is a sweet woman, but she is determined, and she doesn't mess around. So just be ready.
Right.
And
Just
you're
one more question.
Just
Ms. Schossenberg.
one more question.
One more. And because in your professional opinion, aside from the proximity to Harlem, absolutely nothing connected these victims, aside from the nature of their wounds.
I have not been able to find a connection, but if there is one, I believe Hilton knows. Before he was arrested, he had a group similar to yours that was going around Harlem trying to protect the neighborhood because these bodies were showing up. I think Hilton knows more than he's saying, and maybe he's trying to protect his wife, and I can understand that. But I haven't been able to figure it out.
Very well. Then we'll receive an introduction, care of his wife, and then we shall show him that we are fellow travelers.
Great. All right, well, nice clothes,
Thanks.
Thank
They're
you.
new.
she says, but she doesn't really mean it.
You see this watch chain? It goes down to my knee.
And you leave the New York Times, and you're sitting there just outside of Times Square on a Tuesday afternoon, right? I think we're on a Tuesday.
Sure.
It was
No, it's Monday. It's Monday. Yeah, it's Monday. You're sitting in Times Square. It's getting late. It's almost the end of the day. You've been bouncing all around town, taking appointments. What are you going to do next? Let's find out right after this quick word from our sponsor. All right, it's a happy hour in New York City. It's Monday. What do you guys want to do? I legit don't know what you want to do. There's like so many leads, but it's a weird thing doing it day by day and in real time. And that like, well, it's getting kind of late to go to so-and-so's office or hop on a train upstate unannounced.
I mean, I think we just kind of fast forward time to tomorrow morning. Unless anyone had some crazy nighttime shenanigans they want to get into.
Yeah, anybody have a hot date? Do you guys have personal lives? Not the characters.
Now, probably not. Yeah.
I mean, not the players, the characters.
No to both.
Yeah, like, do you have any friends in the city? Is there anybody like?
No to both.
Let's go. Just for shits and giggles, let's go back to your contacts on your sheet here. Like Feiruz, I think yours was your mom.
No, my mom's dead.
Your mom's dead, so it was your dad.
Wow, Troy.
Well, sorry, I
Ouch. Ouch, Troy.
Too soon, buddy.
Like prized possession and prized people. Are you contact? Like Rob, are you getting back in touch with your wife, sending her letters?
I could ask my dad about all this stuff if he's heard about any weird ongoings.
Is he back in Massachusetts?
Yeah.
You also found that notice about a lecture that happened at New York University from a visiting professor from Miskatonic University, this Australian professor. And now you hear that Jackson was thinking about going to Australia, so there's a little connection there as well. More like cult stuff. What was his lecture on again?
I don't know, but I'll send my dad a
The Cult of
telegraph,
Darkness.
letting him know what I'm up to.
Polynesia.
Okay. Little telegram and just let him. I'm in New York, safe, staying at the Waldorf with three
Stop.
strangers.
3 stars. Stop.
Oh, she's staying at the Waldorf.
New
All
outfit.
right.
Stop.
Ill-fitting.
Witness 3 murders.
Stop.
Shot man in face.
Tillinghast peed on somebody's desk. Stop.
Stop.
I love
All right, so you want to just call it a night and fast forward till Monday?
I mean, I don't want to be presumptuous unless you guys want to do something else. I feel like let's get to the...
Yeah.
Vaughn, maybe you lose track of Vaughn. He drifts off into the night. He's like, gives you the key and he's like, I'll be back later. And like,
Just Batman style? Just fucking fades into the darkness?
walks off.
Return and you're gone?
Gives you the room key?
We're all Commissioner Gordon.
I know what he's doing.
I think
Vaughn wants to spend some time alone.
Okay.
Yes, Vaughn wants to spend some time alone.
think Margot rekindled with Gunter a little bit, and she's been writing him letters. So maybe
remind us
she's
who
doing
Gunter
that.
is.
Gunter's my significant people.
Right.
Oh.
He was the art teacher that fell in love with me, and I was like, no, that's gross.
Right.
But also, don't stop paying.
But also, don't stop. It's kind of hot.
So
I've
Gunter
almost
is
been
back
killed.
in Germany, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I imagine she did maybe like know of at least know of people like in the art world here. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if she's hanging out with them.
Right. All right. And then Carter, are you just? I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, Carter wants to make sure he's got keys to the pad.
Okay, you've got the keys. Vaughn left you the keys.
All right, yeah. And I'll just be, and then I can basically order whatever I want, right? I mean, in terms of the drinks and not the drinks.
Right. Well, you've got a bellboy that's been hooking you up with some bootleg gin.
Yeah, Carter's spending valuable time getting in with that bellboy.
Bathtub hooch.
Bathtub hooch.
Yeah.
Great. If at any point in the night you come back or anything, or Vaughn, when you do come back, could be late at night. You do tell me. The desk tells you that Mr. Ramsey left a message for you.
Okay. Great. So yeah, if Vaughn comes back, flushed in the cold. Got a cigarette, got a dangler, just cigarette, and like in the lips. It's like, any messages, sport?
Yes, Mr. Ramsey, Carlton Ramsey left a message for you.
Yes, let's see that.
He said, the message is written down. It says, Lafayette Theater, 132nd Street and 7th Ave, 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Thank you very much, my good man. It's like, ding, flicks him a coin. Like, yep.
Rio Silva.
Yep.
And you head up to the room, and you all go to sleep, and you wake up Tuesday. You have an 11 a.m. meeting back up in Harlem at the Lafayette Theater on 132nd Street and 7th Ave. We'll say you called Carlton and said that Rebecca, you're going to be left a message from Rebecca Schoenberg. Rebecca called him and said, I've set up the meeting. And so Carlton called the Waldorf and left a message for you of the location and time. I assume you just want to kind of make your way there eventually at 11.
This is to meet Miss Adams.
Miss Adams, yes.
Okay.
Now, initially you were talking about possibly splitting up, maybe just sending the women there, but then you wanted Vaughn and Carter to perhaps add their charm to the mix. Where do you guys stand on this morning? And also, what else are you thinking about doing on Tuesday? You've got some time here before your 11 a.m. meeting.
I mean, for me, I feel like the priority is talking to the Carlisle sister. That would be the other. Get to the, kind of start addressing the grander issue of psychoanalysts and safes
and his books. Yeah.
Then do we want to meet up after that and do something, or?
Yeah, I mean, if you do a little bit of research or you ask the front desk about an Erica Carlisle, you can get an address. She has a mansion outside of the city in Westchester.
How long would that be to get there by train?
It would probably take you 45 minutes to an hour to get there by train.
Bring a Game Boy.
It's close.
Game Boy.
Didn't we get note that Carlton could maybe do an introduction for us on that?
I think we should do that.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to reach out to Carlton, he could try and contact her people and see if the meeting could be
Maybe
set up.
Can we try to do that like kind of first thing in the morning?
I do have
people
experience
wake up in the 20s, like
going
5.
all the way up there for nothing, not to being able to get in to where I was going.
Yes, Fräulein Sauer and I have learned a great deal about the wonderful transit system you have
Taking the train back in defeat. All the while you're at the DMV having the time of your life.
Now, the only thing is,
Living the dream.
if we do that and just the ladies go and talk to Hilton's wife, that probably means that only the ladies will get into the prison, right? Because she will have met them, vetted them. I don't think it'd work to be like, oh, by the way, these 2 other jokers are going to come with us that you've never met.
That's a good point. I mean, maybe not.
But it's just something to consider.
We don't have to split up.
I'm down. I mean, I'm down to cover as much ground as possible simultaneously. But that was just something to remind everybody that could be an issue.
Yeah.
All right, maybe do a team jump uptown and then see if that changes your mind on what you want to do next. Okay. Meanwhile, you can wait to you could call Carlton and see if he was able
Just
to
get those
arrange
wheels.
anything.
We'll do that. Yeah, we'll put Carlton on the case for getting us an introduction to Erica Carlisle.
I would rather not Jodie Foster my way into that prison.
Well, Carter wants to meet that CEO.
Yeah,
after
I think it all
Vaughn
Did he
and
say
Margot
to
about
you?
him.
How you like them apples?
Get the fuck out of here with the donuts.
Hey, auf Wiedersehen.
All right, great. So you're going to head uptown to meet Millie Adams, and Rebecca Schoenberg is going to introduce you. So you head up there, and as you approach, you've spent some time up here in Harlem already when you went to visit Carlton Ramsey. Hell, you could even pop by his office afterwards if you stay up here and say, any news on Carla? You see Rebecca standing outside of the theater with an elegant African-American woman with fine features, perfectly styled hair. She's wearing a neatly pressed blouse and woolen skirt, and they're standing waiting for you under the theater's marquee. You actually see a placard for the theater that I can show you right now if you direct yourselves to roll 20. Says, the House of Good Plays, Lafayette Theater, 7th Ave and 132nd Street. Harlem's biggest, coolest playhouse. See men and women of your own race in Broadway dramas. A good play every week. Seats reserved 6 weeks in advance.
Wow.
The Lafayette Theater.
And imagine if you could just guarantee that every play you go to is good.
Right?
We guarantee.
What a gift.
It's the coolest.
Once you've all arrived and exchanged pleasantries, Millie ushers all of you, including Rebecca, into the lobby of the Lafayette Theater, past the ticket booths and cloakrooms and through into the stalls. You see various cleaners and other staff members of the theater just smile and greet Mrs. Adams as she passes. They also seem to know Mrs. Schoenberg, so you assume this is probably their preferred meeting place up here in Harlem whenever Rebecca meets with Millie. Takes you into the theater, and the house lights are fully up in the main auditorium as Millie shows all of you to seats in the center of the stalls. And she stands up and just kind of takes in the theater, and she says, I've worked here at the Lafayette as a musician and singer since it opened. I don't make it a practice to invite strangers into my home. I hope you understand.
I assure you we are honored by your agreement to meet us, and especially under the circumstances. So thank you.
Miss Schoenberg tells me that you lost a friend. I'm sure they'll find a way to say my husband is guilty of that as well, even while he's sitting in a cell 30 miles away, waiting for the day that they kill him.
Yes, we've been acquainted with the peculiarities of the justice system of this fair city. We, too, believe that your husband is quite innocent of these crimes for which he's outrageously accused.
My husband is innocent. And I don't say this as a grieving wife who doesn't know the man she married. Hilton is a good man.
We will
fought for this country. He came back, but like so many others, it doesn't matter what you do for this country, the sacrifices you make if the color of your skin isn't white.
We will do whatever it takes to make sure that your husband is set free.
Because we too are not disinterested parties, being friends ourselves, the recently deceased, and also witnesses.
She sits down in a seat next to you and just kind of leans backwards to look at you. She says, Hilton didn't confide in me everything he knew about the deaths and disappearances in Harlem over the past few years, but he did tell me his suspicions, so I've spent the last few months trying to confirm those suspicions for myself. But may I ask, what is it that you are here for? Are you just looking for your friend's killer? I'm grateful that you would take an interest in my husband, but you don't know him. Are you just warriors of justice? Or is this about something else?
Well, I think we have mutual interests that intersect. We want to get to the bottom of who killed our friend. We believe that the same people that committed the murders that your husband has been falsely accused of. We would love to be able to talk to your husband to get more info, find out whatever he's witnessed, whatever he's seen, so we can then get to the bottom of this and hopefully everyone's satisfied at the end of the day.
But it appears as though this isn't just petty crimes, and this isn't just senseless violence. This is something, a much broader picture. And while we do very greatly want to see who it was that had done this to our friend, and to see that your husband gets set free, we also want to make sure that this doesn't happen to anyone else.
She takes it in. She thinks about it. Well, I'll make you a deal. If you agree to help me exonerate my husband, I'll give you all the information I have that will hopefully lead to the true killers. All of Hilton's other friends have abandoned him. They've given up the fight over fear and intimidation. The authorities don't take my suspicions seriously. I have no one else to turn to. So if you're going to help, then I need you to help.
We should stay in contact with you. If there's anything that we find out, we won't keep you in the dark.
I would very much like that. You can contact Miss Schoenberg, or suppose possibly even me directly. Let me tell you what I know. Hilton, he began growing concerned when Harlem locals began to disappear several years ago. As the number of disappearances increased, he turned to a group of friends from the saloon where they hung out, Teddy's. It's just a couple blocks from here. These men all served in the Harlem Hellfighters in the Great War. Not together, mind you, but they all found each other when they came back to Harlem after the war ended. So the five of them, Hilton and his friends, they began organizing patrols to try and protect members of our community, while also trying to find out who was responsible for these disappearances after the police down at the 14th Precinct refused to take this matter seriously. So even after the mutilated bodies started appearing a couple years back, the police still refused to do anything, claiming gang violence and robberies gone wrong as the cause, despite these pronouncements regarding an African death cult by some old crackpot with too much time on his hands. Now, even though it sounded crazy, they were exploring all leads, so Hilton and his friends focused a little while on this death cult link, did their due diligence, and managed to find a reference in the New York Public Library about some long-dead cult from East Africa. Now, Hilton never told me what it was called, and the police confiscated his journal where he kept all his notes regarding the case.
Did they confiscate the book as well?
They did. I do remember he had a strip of red cloth that he used as a bookmark in the journal. He never said so, but I always felt as if that cloth held some significance. But the police took that too.
Where did
flannel?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Where did he get it?
He never told me. He was very secretive. Probably didn't want to get me all worried, and now I'm heading up the investigation myself, in the thick of it. I wish he had told me more. And even when I go and see him, he's loath to say so too much. Doesn't want to get me in trouble.
Can I roll a psychology roll on her? Because I feel like Margot wants to be like, dude, the people that we saw murdering our friend were wearing red cloths. So like this is significant, and like kind of share information because she shared information with us. But I also don't want to like make her freak out. So I kind of want to roll to see if like, should I divulge this? I don't know. Feel that out?
Yeah, roll it. That's a good roll.
Which is, I think my thing is 50. Yes. 62 over 50.
You will destroy her.
Oh no.
Spend that luck.
So in that case, maybe I like nudge over to whoever's sitting next to me, who wants to be sitting next to me.
I'll sit next to you.
Okay. And just
yeah,
be like, should we tell her about the red?
Yeah, I think we, yeah. Do it.
Okay. We ask about this cloth because when we found our friends and we saw the people who were murdering him running away, they were all wearing headbands that were very long, and they were red flannel headbands. And it seemed to be their signature thing. So you saying that he had this cloth? I would love, we want to know where he got it.
Maybe he encountered one of these people.
Right.
Maybe that's why he's been framed.
Maybe he did. There was one night he came home and he was a little bruised up. Said he got into a scuffle at Teddy's, but I knew that he was out on patrol that night. Maybe he ran into one of these people. Well, Hilton and his friends, their investigation didn't go too well with the police when they caught wind of it, and they began coming around our home, warning Hilton about the dangers of stirring up trouble.
These police under the leadership of one Robeson?
They are indeed.
Yes.
Do you think that they're in on this? In your opinion?
Hilton believed, and now he was reluctant to include me in all of his inquiries, but he did mention that he believed there was a cult operating in Harlem and that they were probably paying the police to turn a blind eye to their activities, just like all the other criminal gangs did. Now, whether it was a cult or a gang, that doesn't sound that unusual to me. But I find it strange that the police would allow murders to go on. It's one thing to pay for drugs to go around town. It's another thing to turn a blind eye to murder and mutilation. Well, once the police started coming around, they started coming around to his friends as well. And some of the more conservative members of the old guard were concerned that Hilton and their group activity would only bring Harlem into disrepute, especially if they started mentioning all this cult nonsense, which, as far as they were concerned, just played into the white perception of black people as uneducated savages. And this was further backed up by the respective church elders in a series of pointed sermons. This was another reason that Hilton's friends all but abandoned him. Now, one night, shortly before his arrest, I did hear Hilton mention the name Juju House to his friend Needham Johnson, who works as a reporter at the New York Age.
A proprietor by the name of Silas Nkwane, unless I'm quite mistaken.
I'm not familiar with the proprietor, but yes, it's a shop of just African curios up here in Harlem. Maybe he questioned him about these cults to see if there was any truth to it. But I do remember overhearing him talk with Needham about a juju house. Anyhow, Hilton was arrested in September last year, found standing over the body of a middle-aged white man in a dingy alley not too far from the New York branch, the Harlem branch of the New York Public Library. The police, allegedly alerted by the dying man's screams, claimed to have seen Hilton throw away a bloody knife when confronted. Now, this was Hilton's Army-issued bolo knife. It was reportedly recovered from the scene and formed the crux of the prosecution's case against him. Now, you must understand, Hilton and his friends went out on patrol almost every night. They did so to keep Harlem safe, to protect our people. No one asked them to do that, but they did it every night. And every one of those nights, I don't remember Hilton ever bringing out that bolo knife with him when he went on patrol. And now he's sitting on death row, not awaiting the Lord's judgment, but awaiting the judgment of a corrupt system using my husband as a patsy.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
How would they have gotten a hold of this knife? Did you guys have any break-ins, or was there any in your home, or what?
We didn't have any break-ins. Of course, after they arrested Hilton, they came in here and kicked me out and did a whole search. They found blood. They found all of this stuff. None of that was there. None of that was there. He never took that knife out with him.
Was there anything particularly unusual or concerning to you in the day or days immediately preceding your husband's arrest?
You know, they felt as if they were getting close to something. I could always tell that he was almost excited to go out on patrol, like they felt like they were close to cracking the case that the police weren't interested in solving. But he just wouldn't share enough information with me, and no matter how many times I visit him, he's still pretty tight-lipped. Now, he knows I would never abandon him like his friends down the street, but I think he's afraid that whoever set him up would come for me too if I start poking my nose around, but frankly, it's too late, because I'll stop at nothing to see him free.
Well, we'd love to speak to him, if possible, just to assure him that we've seen a lot of the same things that he has, things like this red cloth, and hopefully we can, hopefully he'll be more willing to share some information if he's not so concerned with what happens to us as much as he is with you.
And there could be things that maybe he didn't think was relevant to his search, but maybe as we corroborate our stories and compare, maybe it will be significant.
Yes, as a veteran of the Great War myself, madam, I can tell you that there are things that one encounters sometimes that you do not wish to burden those you care for by divulging them at length and in detail.
Yeah.
And it is not for any want of love that he is withholding these things from you. In fact, it is because of a surfeit of it. But we who have seen these things with our own eyes, he may be more willing to share with us. And the larger the picture that we can form of the actual perpetrators of these wretched crimes, then the more the truth can come to light and your husband's life be saved.
She reaches out and puts a hand on your hand, Vaughn, feeling a special connection to you as you too were a veteran of the same war, thankfully fighting on the same side, unlike the German.
I'm an artist. I don't know.
Yes, in this one here, no love for the Kaiser, all right? So.
That's where you can go.
Vaughn
Hitler
and your
hates my
husband, Vaughn and your husband can just talk about mustard gas till the cows come home. Mm-hmm. I know Vaughn's always wanted to chat about that.
Yes, I'm
right,
sure
Vivi?
we can find many things to commiserate over, Tillinghast. But if you could provide us the letters of introduction that will allow us into the presence of your husband, we should be grateful, and we will not forget the terms of the agreement that we have made, to seek with all our energy to exonerate your husband.
I will do so. They have allowed me to visit more frequently as of late. It used to be that I could only come once a week, but now I'm able to come and go almost as I want, even though I'm only allowed to stay for a half an hour at a time. And I think it's because they're getting ready to execute him, and so they're letting me say my last goodbyes. I will call him immediately. Well, not him, but I'll call the prison and get you set up as soon as humanly possible. If there's something he knows that either he won't tell me or that has gone right over my head that will mean more to you, I want you to hear it from him.
There's a good chance that he's maybe not told you everything for your own protection.
I believe that to be true. Thank you. Thank you for taking an interest in this. And again, I'm very sorry for your loss. I hope to not be mourning my husband in the same way that you're mourning your friend.
We hope so as well.
And Rebecca nods and stands up, gives Millie a hug, and escorts you out. She stays in. And Rebecca says, well, I'm glad you got a chance to meet her and talk to her. I'll be in touch with her, and then do you want me to just call this Mr. Ramsey again to let you know when we're able to make this happen? She has a good rapport with them at the prison. I think she probably will be able to get you in fairly quickly.
Well, if she has a good rapport with the people at the prison, then she has a greater quantity of charm than any soul I know. They're tough nuts to crack, those two.
They are very, very mean.
So yes.
No reason either.
Unaccountable. But if, yes, with all haste, the sooner we know that we have the appropriate introductions, then we will go and make our interview.
Great. I'm gonna go get lunch. See ya. She leaves.
I gotta get a Reuben.
Cool, peace out.
Did you invite us for lunch?
Sorry, I have another group of investigators I'm having lunch with.
Oh,
in Harlem.
I'm sure they're so cool.
No,
Becca's so popular with the investigators.
You guys are great. I had these plans before I met you.
No, it's cool. I thought that we were good friends, but okay.
Their clothes fit them better.
I'm sure there's a fast food place around here you can enjoy. Goodbye. Have a nice
Fast food?
Tuesday.
Well, you know, hey, guys, we're up here.
This?
We're already in Harlem. Let's check out this Juju House place, which I completely forgot about.
Yes.
Yes, let's
Yes.
do that before we check back in on Carlton.
Yes,
While we're
being
there.
brought up by Mr. Lemming made me file it under irrelevant, but hearing it from the lips of Mrs. Adams has moved it to the front of the pack.
And perhaps maybe even Teddy's, if you think that's...
I was wondering if it would be okay for us to do that. Would we be overstepping, talking to people who don't want to be involved? Like, what if we run into one of Hilton's friends and they're not, I don't know. We could just go for lunch.
Teddy's is only a couple blocks away. You could roll by there. You would think it's probably, you got the feeling from talking to Millie that it's probably a gentleman's club, so women would be allowed in. So maybe you split the party.
Well, I can go to the salad bar, I guess, where the ladies go.
Fine.
The Margot Sour Bar? Oh, you said salad bar.
There's
sorry.
a Curves across the street from Teddy's.
The Curves?
So, excellent. We'll go to Teddy's and you go.
Okay, we'll go where
We
the
can go
women
to
eat.
Juju House.
Yes.
And you can go to Teddy's.
Do you know what? Maybe we can stop at one of those street carts on the way there. Get a hot dog.
The Vienna sausage, if you will.
Hot dog.
Vienna sausage.
They're like sausages, but terrible.
I can't be worse than the DMV, so I hope I'm not disappointed by your
I want
hot
to break
dog.
into the DMV
At
again.
least the line will be much shorter.
Yes.
Yes.
So we got a classic Call of Cthulhu party split with Margot and Feyruz heading a little further into Harlem to check out this Juju house that Dr. Lemming mentioned. He's done business with them as a historian or folklorist. He's purchased some things from this guy. Says he's pretty reputable. And then Carter and Vaughn are going to go check out this Teddy's to see if Hilton's old crew is about. So let's pick it up with the two of them since it's closer, while Margot and Feyruz make their way deeper into Harlem. Mm-hmm. You head over to old Teddy's, and there is a large doorman outside, and there's a little sign that indeed says, "No women." Can I help you?
A table for two, my good man.
All right. Right this way. And he lets you inside, and the interior is plainly, though comfortably furnished. Tables and booths around the walls. There's a small stage at the far end of this room. It's all like one room, and there's a bar lining one wall, and a limited food menu. You can tell it's a little dark in there. There's not a lot of windows letting light in, and there's just like this thin plumes of cigarette and cigar smoke hanging in the air. So it's, even though it's only like noon, 12:30 out, it feels like you're in another time and place. And you sit down at a table, and the guy says, if you want something, just order it from the bar. And then the doorman goes back outside. There's a bartender just watching you. Cleaning the bar.
I don't know about you, but I want some steak fries. Stat. So I'm gonna go up there and order. Maybe give a scan of the bar here, VV. See if you see any. I don't know. Does anyone else have the pall of war hanging over them? You must be able to recognize just these sour pusses.
Yes, I'll cast my eye around Tillinghast. Yes, give me some of those steak and pommes frites if you.
No, I'm gonna get steak fries.
Right.
2 steak fries.
Very
Coming
well.
up. Great. Maybe a seltzer.
Vaughn, you go up to the bar.
Yeah, Carter's going up to the bar.
Carter's going to the bar.
And I'll take his advice and just look around the room and take in who else is here.
Give me a spot hidden, Vaughn.
Ready.
Spot war torn.
Yeah. Ready. Oh, come on now. I'm gonna spend luck. I rolled. It's actually kind of a lot. I rolled 89 over 75.
Do you want me to just try to talk to the bartender real quick?
Yeah, if you want to spend 6 points of luck, I can tell you something. Or if you want to just see what Carter turns up with, it's up to you.
Let's see what Carter can do. I might, let's say that spot hidden is like my eyes are like burning from the smoke, and like it's so dark in there I can barely see anything. And like, only one thing to do at a moment like this: smoke yourself. And you're like,
and you do look around. You don't see any groups. There's no like large groups. The largest group is like a two people sitting together, and there's a couple of them, and then the rest is all just like solo guys sitting at tables by themselves. There's probably all in all like maybe 12 people in there. You see a big staircase going down over to the right of the stage, and you wonder like, I wonder this might be a hopping place at night. Like it might turn into a speakeasy. Very common at the time. Carter, you go up to the bar. Bartender's like, can I help you?
Yeah, I want 2 orders of your finest steak fries.
Steak fries. We have a very limited menu.
I assume
as
that
you
was
can
on
see
them.
right here, we only have ham and cheese sandwiches,
Yeah.
club sandwiches, and the soup of the day.
What's the soup of the day?
We're out.
Fair enough. Well, these options are borderline limitless. I'm going to do 2 club sandwiches. Feels like the equivalent of a fried potato wedges.
2 club sandwiches. Can I get you anything to drink?
Well, I wish I could say bourbon, but obviously you don't have that right now, right?
No, we don't now. I'm going to come back here at nighttime. Maybe that'll change. But right now, just soda.
Yeah, we'll do some soda waters.
A couple soda waters.
Yeah. That was louder than I...
Here you go. Where are you guys sitting?
We're the 2 white guys over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Stick out like a sore thumb. All right. I'll bring those club sandwiches over in a second. Here's your seltzers.
And one other question here.
Yes.
Do you know about anybody around here that's involved in the, the Hell Riders? The Hell Riders.
The Harlem Hellfighters, you mean?
That's the smoke
I believe that gentleman over there was involved. He's usually here with a bunch of other guys. That's Art.
Art. Okay.
Don't be causing any trouble in here, though. Okay?
Do I look like the kind of guy who causes trouble?
Yes.
You're right, but not today.
Just be cool, or I'll call Lenny in to take care of the other side.
I don't want to even be introduced to Lenny. He sounds.
He just sat you at that table.
That guy. Oh, that was Lenny.
That was Lenny. Be cool.
I'm cool. I would advise look into steak fries. They're on the up and up, coming. On the come up.
I'll check it out. Couple
guys have
club
a
sandwiches.
fry.
I'm gonna go make them right now.
Oh, you're okay. Great. I appreciate the help.
All right, thank you. And he leaves. Goes to make the club sandwich.
How's it coming with those fries, Tillinghast? I can't see a bloody
Bad
thing in here.
news. I got good news and I got bad news. Steak fries not on the menu. Should have looked at that before I ordered them.
Yes, that's generally how it works.
Good news is this guy over there, Art, is in the Harlem Hell Riders.
Fighters.
Hellfighters?
Yes.
Hellfighters.
Legendary old man.
Right, as of 20 minutes ago when we first learned of them.
And
Vaughn may have heard of them.
I think, yeah. Vaughn, I think, might just like, hell with it, here for a reason. And he's like charged up from like pledging this oath to the widow, or the hopefully not widow, and walks across the. That's a good turn of phrase. Walks across the bar and gets up next to Art. Is Art alone?
He is alone. He is sitting there without a jacket, just with a collar and like a loose tie. His sleeves are rolled up. He's got short hair with like a receding hairline and a very, very neat mustache, and he's just got a long cigarette dangling out of his mouth. He looks pretty tired, like maybe he works nights and then comes in here, works like really late at nights, because his eyes are pretty bloodshot. I'll show you on Roll20 right now a historical photo of the Harlem Hellfighters.
Yeah.
Pretty cool shot.
Awesome stuff.
They were, I believe it was a real deal here. There was like a little sidebar about them. I think that was like the nickname given to them by the German soldiers for their tenacity. It's an all-black regiment.
Nice.
Yeah. I just get up next to him and I almost look like a kind of a sort of semi-mirror, just cigarette dangling. Just next to him, I kind of lean over, like, take a look at that man right over there. Now, I'm not one to judge, but one by appearances, for I know that appearances can often be deceiving, but this mask over his face might give you to understand that he's received shrapnel in the eye, perhaps a burn in the trench. That's what I was given to believe. Would you believe, as I cock an eyebrow to him, that's for being kicked in the face by his wife's horse?
Guy just kind of looks up at you, and there's a case on the table in front of him. It's like about yay big, and he kind of pulls it down and puts it on the seat next to him. He's like, "What, man? Come on, leave me alone. I'm just trying to relax."
Of course. I mean, God, what I was clumsily trying to do there was like words and bond, like, here's a guy with stolen valor.
Carter just knows that they're pointing at him, and he's like, "Hey!" And like tries to take a sip, and it kind of like dribbles. Oh, fuck!
He takes a drink of his coffee and butts out his cigarette a little bit.
This guy's extremely tired and not having it. I mean, can I roll charm?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a roll. I shouldn't have just pushed you off without at least a roll.
No. Okay.
I was lost in our role play, Ross.
I too was right there.
I get so lost I forget if we're playing a game. I just think we're inhabiting these characters.
What? All right. I rolled a 49 under 55, which is charming, but not too charming. It's a success, though.
Yeah, that is a success.
That sounds about right.
Unless I set the difficulty at a hard success. So maybe he blows you off at first. Well, come on, man. Leave me alone. Pulls this case down by his side. And then he's like, looks at you, and maybe there's something in you he sees.
And I think, I'm like, Name's Vaughn Villiers. I was also in Belgium.
Put cigarette in his mouth. Nice to meet you, Art Mills. We did a little time there, but not much. When did you get back?
Too bloody late for my liking, but too bloody soon for some. I was only there a few months, old man, before I got a bullet right in the upper hip.
Well, at least you were able to come back and talk about it. Got
Yes,
some
indeed.
buddies that got bullets in their hip and they're still over there.
Indeed, and I as well.
You mind me asking what you're doing in a place like this? 12:45 on a Tuesday?
I mean, why not? Some... Well, allow me to answer your question with question. Were you a friend, sir, of a gentleman by the name of Hilton Adams?
He, stiffens for a minute. Why do you ask? Kind of starts looking around.
Oh, you needn't be at all concerned. I'm not with the police. I've never even met the man. But, I have read about him in the papers. And I, for one, believe that he is entirely innocent of the crimes for which he's accused.
Who told you to come here? How did you know to talk to me about this?
I've been asking around the neighborhood, my friend and I.
What do you want to know, man? I feel bad enough. I don't really want to talk about it. I don't want to be seen talking about it. It's a shitty situation, and I feel bad. We all feel bad.
We all feel bad indeed. Do you read the paper, sir? Perhaps if you see that one of the crimes fitting the profile for which Mr. Adams is languishing up in Sing Sing was committed just a couple of nights ago.
There was another murder.
There was, fitting the exact modus operandi of the ones for which he is accused. And I should know, sir, because I saw it happen.
What are you talking about? You saw it happen?
I did not see the murder itself, but I saw the aftermath.
Wait a minute. There was still. He's very cautious about his voice level and everything. He's like, "You telling me there was another murder, exactly like the one that Hilton was arrested for?" And
yes.
And you saw the murder, or you saw the body afterwards.
What's this fellow's last name?
Mills.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Mills. If I was to say I saw a gentleman wearing a very peculiar red sash, would that mean anything to you?
Sit down.
Perhaps you would like to sit down and join my friend and I.
Carter's like,
God, just call him over here into a booth. It's a little more private.
Yes, of course, I understand. And I wade through the smoke and gesture to Tillinghast.
Hey, are you guys talking about the murders yet or what?
Yes, Tillinghast, the subject's been breached. Allow me to introduce Mr. Mills.
Mills. Hey, Art, how are you? Carter, Tillinghast.
Carter reaches out a hand to shake Mr. Mills' hand. They close up on their hands, shaking. And then we leave this scene, and we come to Margot and Feyruz somewhere else in Harlem, looking for this African art emporium called Juju House. You're able to get the address. It's 1 Ransom Court. You arrive outside of a cluttered alley, kind of off of West 137th Street, east of Lenox Ave. You see a sign for Ransom Court above. You walk down a short alleyway, and it opens up into a 20-foot square court. You see the doors for Juju House, and then the back door of an abandoned pawn shop. that fronts onto 138th Street. You actually passed by the pawn shop on the way into this alley, and you could see that the doors were boarded up, and there's a for rent sign. There are curtains on the door, and so you can't see inside, curtains on the window. And you do see some like curios in the window. And let me just find it here. There are different African art curios, and then there's a handwritten card propped up on the bottom corner of the window. It says the shop hours are from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., closed on Sundays, with lunch between 12 and 1. If you look down at your watch, it's close to 2 o'clock by now, so they should be open.
Feyru's holding a hot dog in one hand, a cigarette in the other. Well, it looks like this is the place, Sour. And she fully takes one long-ass drag on the cigarette, flicks it, exhales, finishes her hot dog, and then claps, right?
You wonder why life expectancies weren't as long as they are now. The old recession special. All right, so you guys hop inside?
Yeah, I think while we're finishing our hot dogs, like Margot's kind of like trying to confusingly eat it while standing and just kind of being like, I am discomfortable with this. But,
no, you don't eat it from the middle.
She's eating it like this.
It's just I'm supposed to eat while we stand, and just it's very
Is this
soft.
how you do it?
There's no fork and knife.
And just a little bit of mustard. Okay, I'm gonna eat it. So what? So we just go in and ask for the book at some point?
Well, it's open and it's a normal business. So I would say we pretend that we're browsing at first, get a lay of the land, see if anything catches our eye, and then maybe ask questions.
Okay. She puts the rest of the hot dog in her mouth, eats it, swallows it.
It's better not to chew too long.
I'm done. Let's go.
You go to open the door and you hear like a clang behind you, and you look up the head of the alley and you see like a couple of winos like crash into a trash can and then just stumble down the street. You open up the door to look inside, and the interior of the shop is very small. It's like 15 by 20 feet. It's pretty dirty, dusty, and it's just piled from floor to ceiling with African tribal artifacts and bric-a-brac. You see devil masks, leather-headed drums, stuffed model giraffes, carved wildebeests, dull, the blade is dull hand weapons intended for display, ivory warthogs and whatnot. And then behind a cluttered waist-high glass cabinet stands a small, thin, balding old man with only a wisp of white hair. He's wrapped in a particular red blanket, and he smiles a toothless grin at you both as you open the door. You have anthropology, Noura? Or Margot? I don't know.
I do have anthropology. Now, is that red blanket made of flannel?
Well, give it a roll. See what you see.
I have a 9, so I'm going to try also. Trained it a little bit.
I rolled a 9.
Ooh. I rolled a 76.
I rolled a 9 under 21, so it's a hard success.
Hard success. All right, so you're like, I know that. That is a blanket known as a shuka. It's worn by Maasai tribesmen. So it's an authentic Maasai shuka, but it is not made of flannel.
I relay that verbatim to Margot.
It's a Maasai tribesman blanket. He looks at you and he's, again, no teeth. He's like, oh, hello. Welcome to Juju House. How may I assist you? Is there something in particular you are looking for?
Well, for the moment, we're just browsing, but please tell me, how you must have been in this business for quite some time to amass such treasures.
Yes, I came to this country 37 years ago, and I have tried to bring my culture to our people who have now migrated here to Harlem. So yes, I have been in this business, as you can say, my whole life, but really I have just had an interest in my culture and my people, and I want to share that with my new community.
I love that.
Yes.
I too have a love for cultural antiquities, and I do recognize your blanket to be of, and I repeat exactly what you said.
And he's like impressed. He's like, oh, you have an eye for such things. Yes, I will admit I myself am not a Maasai tribesman, but I like to dress the part for my customers. If you were to catch me on a Sunday morning, you would see me in a suit, not unlike any other man who walks down the street, but you have a careful eye. May I ask, where are you from?
Well, I live in Massachusetts. I'm actually a graduate student. I study cryptography. So I do have a very strong interest in studying other cultures.
Yes. Cryptology, very interesting. And what about you, miss? He looks at Margot.
Oh, I'm from Germany. I've lived in Berlin for a long time. I'm from a small town called Schiltach, and I'm an artist.
An artist from Germany. Well, you are very far from home. Thank you for coming to my shop. Where did you hear about my business?
Well, we've been exploring the area, and we love to ask all local establishments where we should pay visit.
Oh, well, you must have spoken to the right people for them to lead you here. Friends of mine, no doubt. Happy customers.
Of course. Nothing but rave reviews.
So was there something specific you were looking for, or you just, as a student, you just delight in these things, or are you doing some particular research?
Can I, while you guys are talking, like just look around and see if anything jumps out as interesting for our investigation?
Yeah, give me a spot hidden while Fairuz is
Charming,
talking
man.
this guy's ear off. Yeah.
27 under 62, so that's a hard.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
That is a hard
back
success. What are things that jump out at you as you start to really stare at the room? You see that he has a little key around his neck as he's talking to Fairuz. It's like jingling underneath the blanket. That's something you didn't notice at first. There's also a thick blanket on the wall behind the counter that looks like there might be a room back there, probably storage. It may even be like a small apartment where he sleeps, like he sleeps here and then his business is in the front. But yeah, there is a lot of stuff in here, and so you're kind of trying to take stock of everything and see if anything jumps out at you. You're looking for, probably remembering things from Peru, and also like thinking about these everything you've seen thus far, and nothing jumps out at you and ties in. You don't see a book or that you're looking for or anything like that.
I think I might be like, what is your favorite knick-knack in here? Artifact, treasure?
It changes from day to day, depending on my mood. I feel a kinship with many of these things, and I used to be very sad whenever someone would come in and buy one of my things, because there is a story to all of these. But now, as I've gotten older, I've realized that when someone purchases one of my pieces, that they now are taking that story with them so that they may tell a new story. So, what is my favorite this week? Well, I always enjoy this mask. And he pulls this mask off the wall, and it's just this like hideous mask with like a mouth that isn't a perfect circle. It's a little jagged around. He's like, it is a little hideous, I know, but on long days when we don't have any customers, I look over at my little friend here, and I feel as if I am not alone. Ooh, and he smokes it.
Fascinating.
Margot's remembering looking into that mask and seeing visions, and she's like, "Oh no,
You want to wear it?
no, please, no, thank you."
Fairuz is also remembering the mask and wondering if Margot still has it and would this gentleman recognize it.
Oh.
Do I have it? I feel like there was a time where I said I didn't, but I want to have it.
It just seems strange that you would have left that in Peru.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, I think you have it now. Do you carry it around everywhere you go, like in your purse? Give me a luck roll.
Oh yes. Oh no. Oh, my luck is bad. Okay. Well, you know what?
Okay, that's the wrong prayer. Well, let's see.
21 under 36. I have it in my bag.
Boom.
And I'm like, oh,
Never leave
take
home
that,
without it.
please. I have something fun to show you, though. I have my own mask in my bag that makes me feel like someone is also with me at all times. Would you like to see it?
I would love to see it.
And she ruffles in her giant bag and carefully pulls it out. Maybe it's like wrapped in a cloth.
Fairuz takes a slight step back.
And she doesn't like hand it to him. She just kind of like shows it to him.
Okay. You reach into your purse and you pull out the mask and you show it to him, and his eyes go wide. And we go back to Teddy's saloon and restaurant where Carter and Vaughn are sitting with Art Mills, cigarette smoke hanging in the air. I have a picture here from Roll20 that's just like of what the booth would look like if it was full of people. You know,
Love that wallpaper.
Yeah.
guys just sitting
I
there,
can smell this photo.
right? Chain smoking.
I closed
drinking
it too
coffee.
early. I got to use my goddamn imagination.
It's still available. You can always look at it.
Sucks.
Now,
Come
if you've
on,
got
brain.
a picture of that club sandwich,
Yum, yum.
Yeah, I don't have the club sandwich.
I love if you had and if you could turn a Roll20, I got a picture of that club sandwich.
as you can see, there's a baked ham slice as well as some turkey.
Some
You know,
20s style
olives,
toothpicks holding it
If
together.
I was really on top of my game, I would have been able to quickly pull a club sandwich, throw it on Roll20, and show it to him.
Just immediately like desaturate it so it's in black and white.
This is what a
with an olive.
1925 club sandwich looked like. You're sitting there, and Art is very fidgety. He's smoking at a speed that rivals even Vaughn, but he's intense now in speaking with you. And your club sandwiches have been brought over so you can eat them.
Oh, great.
They're terrible.
Very good. This is
He says, you know, we were out there for a while, just trying to figure out what the hell was going on, trying to stop more disappearances. And after a while, we started to figure out there was some pattern to the way people were disappearing. It was usually 2 people, sometimes more, but always at least 2, at the same time every month. So once, Hilton managed to stumble across someone being attacked while he was out on patrol, and Hilton stepped in and drove the attacker off. In the fight, he tore a strip of red cloth from some sort of weird mask the attacker was wearing. Right after that was when the police started coming around, making their threats. They knew we saw something we weren't supposed to, and either they were involved
or getting paid to look the other way. I mean, you could set it to a timer. The minute he broke up that attack, the next day they started coming around. And the only physical evidence we had was that piece of cloth, like you mentioned. But the police took it. Everything else was pure observation and conjecture, and it was all recorded in Hilton's journal, which was also taken by the police. And let me tell you, they're gone. Those things don't exist anymore. They were thrown into the furnace, I'm sure, or thrown into the Hudson. At some point, Hilton was convinced he'd track down a new lead. But he was arrested before he could confirm what his suspicions were. He knows something that we don't even know. And there's no point going to the newspapers with tales of police harassment or brutality or some sort of cover-up. Everyone's well aware that the police are paid to turn a blind eye, and no one's going to take our word over that of a white police captain. I know that. We all know that. Besides, we have no physical evidence to back up the story. But Hilton, he was on to something. And he thinks it had something to do with Juju House.
Yeah, what was this? You said he pulled it off a mask?
Some sort of weird mask. Had just like a strip of red cloth hanging from it. He yanked it off. Police came around, asked questions. They wanted to see this cloth. They took it. We never saw it again.
So it's of your opinion, and was the opinion of Mr. Adams himself, that there was a connection between these killers and this Juju House establishment?
Juju House has something to do with it. At least that's what Hilton thought.
Looking over at Tillinghast. Like, Mr. Adams, you've been, Mr. Mills, you've been ever so helpful.
Yeah, we gotta go. And I was like grabbing the sandwich.
With the information you've given us today, you've brought us one step closer to justice finally being served, and we will be the advocates for Mr. Adams, I assure you.
Mm-hmm. Totally, we gotta go. Let's go.
He reaches out his hand and he grabs both of your hands. And he's been like laid back the whole time, but he grabs both of your hands sort of forcefully, and he says, "You better be careful, because they're watching, and they know, and you will be in great danger. And we'll see you next week."
No! Oh my God!
Nice.
Oh, we're dying.
We gotta
Someone's
wait a
dying.
while for
We're
this.
doomed.
Shit.
Oh,
Why did I take out the mask? Why? I feel like this is a
Damn
bad
it.
choice.
Damn it.
oh boy.